My name is Phyllis Garcia, and I'm here to run a session on the iPhone. This is iPhone 101 basics, not very basics, like showing you where the on and off button are, etc. But we'll be going through settings and helping you personalize your phone the way you want it, not the way someone else wants it to set it up for you or how the default settings are. Just a little bit about myself. I have been running these sessions on Zoom since the pandemic, which, believe it or not, we're going on 3 years of the pandemic or post-pandemic. And I have been teaching computer classes for well over 20 years, almost 25 years. So I've got a lot of experience. I am a part of an organization in Wethersfield, Connecticut, and we have been doing computer classes for 25 years. And now the need is more for tablets and telephones, etc. So we've been shifting over to doing classes such as this on iPhone, the iPad, Android phones, Android tablets, etc. We'll get started. We don't have a hard stop in an hour, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time and not run over as much. This is the first session that I am doing for Darien Library. We do have another session planned for a week from today. It is on email, phoning, texting, and FaceTime. So hopefully you will be able to attend that session. I will welcome any feedback that anyone wants to give either after this session or by sending an email to Amanda with any comments that you have about this session so that we can, if we need to do something different for next week, then I'll be more than happy to do that. So again, get your comments either in the chat box or you can send the email to Amanda or comment by unmuting yourself and getting and presenting your questions or your comments to the group. All right, so we're going to get started. What you're looking at right now on the screen is actually my phone. That's my iPhone, and you will see that that is my first screen. I will just go through pages and pages of apps, and this is, I have a lot of apps, and I use them all, believe it or not. And sometimes you'll see somebody's phone, and they'll have apps in all different directions, or the icons aren't lined up. I'm very kind of anal about that. All my icons have to line up. I have to have all my apps in clusters, depending on what they are. For example, financials, medical, anything like that. Some of you might be saying, boy, that's a lot of apps. How does she even find anything? Well, I know where everything is. It's like when you have a junk drawer and you know exactly, if you're looking for a screwdriver, you go right to the junk drawer, you know exactly where it is. So that's exactly how I work with my phone. I know exactly what I need. Most of you probably have on the last page, you probably have the app library, which if I get into a pinch and I really can't find it, which has happened, I can just go right in and type. I'll put in, for example, Zoom, and comes right up, and there it is. So that's just information for you in the event that you too have a lot of apps that you have on your phone. But today we're going to concentrate on the section of the phone that really makes everything work. Every app, every feature on your phone has different features. It has different way of communicating with you, depending on what you want. Today, we're going to cover a lot of these in a general sense, and you will see that my phone is set up in a certain way. I'm not saying that that's the best way. I'm not making a recommendation to you that you make changes to your phone to make it look or to make it function like my phone does. What I want to do is to be able to give you enough information so that you can go through the settings section on your phone and start customizing it to what you want and what works for you. So we're going to start with security, which I know people talk a lot about security. Security is very, very important. And the first thing that we do is have a password on the phone. Now, I know a lot of people say, I really don't want a password. I don't want to put in a PIN because I don't remember the PIN. It's too confusing. I just want to be able to pick up my phone and work it. That decision is yours. However, if you lose your phone, you lay it down somewhere, somebody picks it up, if there's no password, they can get into your phone and look at your emails, and you may not have anything that you consider personal, but if you use your iPhone for certain things like communicating with an attorney, your own personal attorney, for example, you use it for doing banking, you use it to communicate with your physician, you're going to want those things to be protected. So you really don't want anybody being able to get into your phone unless you know who they are and you've given them permission to do so. So this is the settings right here. This is the icon that we're going to concentrate on this evening. And this is what we are going to use to customize the phone and to discuss the features. This icon is the gear box. It is a standard icon on most equipment, whether it's your laptop, your tablet, your iPad, your phone, even your TV. If you have a smart TV, and even if you don't have a smart TV, TVs have a settings box. So that's where we're going to go. I'm just going to press settings, and you can follow along on yours. Yours will look something similar to mine. I am running operating system on iOS 16, and I have, my phone is an iPhone 13. If you don't have some of the features that I have, it may be that your phone is a little bit older or that you haven't updated your operating system. Let's scroll down to, now this is not passwords, it's privacy and security. All right, so all I'm doing is scrolling down, and we're going to start with privacy and security. Okay, and here you can see that this is privacy as it relates to location services for the apps that you're using, how much tracking they can do, etc. These apps that I have on my phone track me if I allow them to do that. But when you download an app, they ask you how much tracking you want them to do. Do you want them to track you all the time? Do you want them to track you only when you're using it? So this is where you would go. Above that is Face ID and passcode. Now, depending on which phone you have, you may have the ability to do a Face ID. In other words, you hold the phone up to your face and it recognizes you, or it doesn't recognize you, especially if you're wearing glasses, etc. It may not recognize you. But that's how you can start your phone. Your phone will open up, or you can do the passcode. So here, in order to make any changes in the passcode, you do have to put in your passcode. So I'll put in my passcode, and here you have Face ID. I have set it up for Face ID. And use Face ID, you can select. When these are green, it means they're on. Here you see gray. That means it's off. So I use Face ID to unlock my phone, to be able to get into iTunes or the App Store, and to use Wallet and Apple Pay. We will talk a little bit toward the end about Wallet and Apple Pay. And then you can set up an alternate appearance. And if you remember, everybody was using masks, not so much anymore. Here you could have the iPhone recognize you if you were wearing a mask. If it's not working and you have to reset it, you can reset it. Here is where you would put in your passcode. You turn the passcode off, change the passcode, and by passcode, I mean the numbers that you normally would put in, 4 digits, 5 digits, 6 digits. And you decide you can change it at any time. You can also require a passcode. And you can set it to be required immediately. For example, you shut the phone off, and immediately when you want to turn it back on, you're going to have to put in a passcode, or you don't have to do it immediately. It gives you a little bit of lag time. So if I uncheck this, then it's no longer immediately. Okay, and you can go through and you can see that you have the option to allow access to certain apps when the phone is locked. So you can do, for example, a search, notifications come in, the control center, and Siri. You know, it's very annoying if you want to talk to Siri, but you have to unlock your phone first. So there are certain things that you can do with the phone being locked. All right, so that's my little preaching about security. I encourage you, if your phone is not locked, that you at least put in a passcode. And if you have a home button, if your phone is a little bit older and it has a home button, you probably can also use a fingerprint, which it's very convenient to do that. As a matter of fact, I thought that was more convenient and quicker than using the Face ID. So that's something else. If you're concerned about the time it takes you to open the phone because you don't remember what your passcode is. Okay, we're going to be talking now about the operating system. I mentioned to you a few minutes ago that I'm operating iOS 16, and you may be thinking, gee, I don't know what version of the operating system I'm running. Now, the operating system is what makes the phone work. It also provides or allows Apple to send to users a patch or patches for security or for errors, etc. So Apple products are pretty secure, but in the recent past, a lot of hackers have attempted to do something with Apple products. So that means they put in viruses, malware, etc. As soon as Apple becomes aware of some type of flaw, they send you a notice that there's another version of the operating system, and they encourage you to download it as soon as possible. So I'm going to show you. I'm still in settings. You can scroll down right here, general. This tells you everything you need to know about your phone. So we're going to go to general. Now, you can see here, this tells you everything about your phone. So let's say you are speaking to someone, let's just say a tech person. You have a problem with your phone, and they're going to ask you, okay, what model do you have, and what iOS version do you have? That's the standard questions. So here you can see that if somebody asks me that question and I don't know, I would go to general, and the first line is about, and I have an iPhone 13 Pro, and I'm running 16.4. This is my iOS version, 16.4. It also tells me things about what I have on my phone. I've got 157 songs, 22 videos, 2,500 photos, etc. Key information here. This phone is 256 gigabytes of memory storage. I have available 213.8. So I've got the ability to put in more photos, more apps, etc. There's another section that has this information graphic, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so that's general and about. I'm going to hit here, the back button, and go back. The next one here is software update. So I'm going to hit that. And this is scrolling here, waiting for the information to come up. But here you have automatic updates. Now, this means that your phone, the iOS operating system, is updated automatically. Now, I normally don't have this on. So I'm going to say no. Now you're going to say yes. You're going to have it yes or no. The reason I don't have it on automatically is because sometimes new updates come, and within a week or so, a new version is sent because somebody found an error or whatever. So I kind of sit and wait. Apple has now decided, and it was on automatically. That was with the last update. Apple recognizes that not everybody has automatic updates on. So what they're doing now is that they are updating all the security patches. And then I can go in later and update it with all the nice little things. Like, for example, the last update that came in introduced 100 more, excuse me, 100 more emojis. I mean, really, I don't even use a fraction of the emojis that are currently on my phone. I didn't need 100 more. So I didn't really feel the necessity to do an immediate update because Apple is already doing the updates for security. So I get a message whenever there's a new update. I get a message and I go in and I'll do it manually. Right now, you'll see the message here on my phone. It says, this is what I'm running, and that the iOS is up to date. So there's no other version out there. And you can go into your phone and make sure that you get this message. You may not be able to run 16.4 because your phone may be a little bit older, but this is the key message right here, that your iOS is up to date. If it's not, you need to update the operating system as soon as possible. In order to do that, you must be on Wi-Fi and you must have it charging. Okay, I mentioned to you about the storage, and we'll talk about that a little later, the difference between storage on the cloud and storage on your phone. But down the list, you'll see here, iPhone storage. So I'm going to hit that. And it's kicking in, but there you go. I mentioned to you that this was a more graphic way to see what you have on your phone and how much storage you're using. So you'll see here, I am using 42.3 gigs of the 256 gigs of storage on my phone. And I think you can see the colors. The red are apps. This orange is the operating system. And then I have several here, bluish green. That's miscellaneous. And then this last section here, smaller in gray, is for system data. I have some media, which are videos and pictures and that kind of thing. The nice thing about this is that if I'm getting close to the 256, I can look at what is taking up of the apps, what's taking up the most. And right here, you can see these 3 apps right here that I'm using. Music is number 2. Now, I never use this. This is a Apple standard app that came in with, I think, version 16 update of the iOS. This takes up a lot of room. Look at that, 1.6 gigabytes. I don't use this either, iMovie. So as I get close to the 256, which I have a long way yet to go, I will consider deleting these. And I probably may delete them anyway. But this is a nice feature to be able to see what you've got and what's taking up all the space. When we talk about iCloud storage, there is a similar graph, and I'll show you that, and we'll have a little discussion about the iCloud and transferring things over to the cloud. We're going to now talk about the iCloud storage. Now, let me show you where that was. Right now, this is the first page of settings. And now up here is your name, and you can see it says Apple ID, iCloud, and media and purchases. So I'm going to hit that. And this really does tell you what your iCloud is. So I'm going to go to iCloud. And this is, again, a color graph. Now, let's talk about the iCloud. We receive with the phone, when you purchase an iPhone, you receive automatically 5 gigs of storage in the cloud. In order to access any information that you have in the cloud, you would have to go to iCloud.com, put in your Apple ID, and you'll see something very similar to your phone. It'll show you how many messages you have and what those messages are, your text messages, contacts, that kind of thing. The reason that you want to update or upload the information on your phone to the cloud is because when or if you ever want to upgrade your phone and you get a new phone, all that information from the cloud will transfer automatically to your new telephone. And you don't have to re-input your contacts, just as an example. You don't have to do that. So it's important, if you want the backup, that you make sure that your phone is backed up to the cloud on a regular basis. And you do it here. So down, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see it right here, iCloud backup. And I have it on. So you want to make sure that yours is on, and it's an automatic process. You don't really have to do anything. And usually it is done daily when you have your phone charged, being charged. So for example, if you normally will charge your phone at night before you go to bed, then the backup will occur sometime in the evening. If you want more storage, let's just say that out of the 5 gigabytes, you have 4.9. If you have 4.9 gigabytes that you've already used out of the 5 gigabytes of memory that is given to you, you have the ability to purchase some more. Well, you have two options, actually. You can go in to the iCloud and start deleting things, like deleting your photos. Photos and videos take up a lot of storage, whether it's on your phone or whether it's in the cloud. So if you are bumping up against the 5 gigs of storage in the cloud, that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. You can't add more storage to the cloud yourself. The only way you can do it is purchase more. And you might think that it's expensive. It's not. The next step after 5 is 50, and it's $1 a month. So $12 a year, you end up with 50 gigs of storage in the cloud. And you do that automatically on the bottom where it says manage your plan. And right here, if you ever wanted to increase your storage in the cloud, this is where you would go. So we'll just do that. And there it is. So the next step would be 200 gigabytes for $2.99 a month, or 2 terabytes at almost $10 a month. I don't really need that much. 50 gigabytes is more than enough for me, as you could see in the little chart. If you take a lot of videos, and especially a lot of photos and the videos, you're going to be bumping into certainly 5 gigabytes and possibly even 50. Remember, this is iCloud storage, not to be confused with the phone storage. If I start bumping into the 256 gigs of memory on my phone, there's nothing I can do. It's not like the old laptops where you could add a card and you could increase your memory. Apple does not allow that. So my only option would be to go and buy another iPhone with more memory. So this is a nice feature to kind of keep track of where you're going. I'm reassured that I've got plenty of space in the cloud, and I'm reassured that still have plenty of space on my phone. I have, and I speak from experience because I have had to get another phone. Some of the real older phones, when I had an iPhone 6, I think I had 256, not 250. Was megabytes. I think it was 256 megabytes. So that wasn't very much, and I ended up having to get another phone. That time I didn't make the mistake of getting a phone without a lot of memory, and I ended up getting a phone with enough memory that the phone lasted me a long time. I ended up having to replace it because it was just old and the operating system wouldn't function on the phone. Okay, so that is iCloud storage. The other thing that takes up a lot of space, if you are in the habit of downloading movies, there's a difference between streaming and downloading. Downloading a video, a movie, for example, is something that's going to stay on your phone for a long time until you delete it. Streaming, for example, if you stream Amazon Video, Hulu, Netflix, that's very different. Streaming does not stay on your phone. It stays with Netflix, and all you're doing is paying for the privilege of seeing it. You can never keep it. Now, there are obviously, services where you can purchase, just like purchasing a book. Books don't take up that much memory, but movies do. And that's another thing that will take up a lot of space. So keep that in mind, that if you really want a movie, maybe it's not such a good idea to put it on your phone. Maybe if you have an iPad or a tablet or a laptop that's got more memory, you put it on to that device. But just keep in mind that if you don't have a large phone or a phone with large storage capabilities, that you may not want to download a video or a movie. You know, this holds true too of YouTube. You have, you know, YouTube, you can stream a video. You can also keep the video on your phone. So that's another thing. It's still taking up a lot of space. So that's a choice that you'll need to make if you really want to keep it, or whether you just want to view it. And, you know, actually you could be able to view it anytime. If you have a Netflix subscription, you can view the movie anytime you want. Okay. All right, let's go back and go over some of these other features. I think everybody knows airplane mode. You get it on an airplane, they tell you to put your phone on airplane mode or to shut it off. Just a reminder, airplane mode does not just mean that you have no Wi-Fi. Airplane mode means you have no connection, no cellular, you can't get phone calls, you can't get text messages. You obviously don't have the Wi-Fi connection. So just keep that in mind that, you know, when you land, to make sure that you put it back on. I'm sure that if you've been in an airplane, all of a sudden everybody lands and you hear ding, 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 everybody getting their notifications and their text messages because everyone has taken it off airplane mode. All right. Connecting to Wi-Fi. Some of you may say, gee, you know, I'd like to be able to, when I go to my friend's house, they have Wi-Fi and I'd like to be able to use my phone. I'd like to be able to connect to their Wi-Fi. Well, you can do that. If you have Wi-Fi at home and your phone is connected to Wi-Fi, you only have to connect it once. Then it'll connect automatically every time you get home. You probably, maybe you've wondered, gee, how come I never have to connect when I'm at home? Because all you have to do is connect it one time. If you go to your friend's house and they have Wi-Fi and you connect, then the next time you go to your friend's house, you won't have to put in the password. It'll be an automatic connect. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. We're going to go to Wi-Fi. And look what happens. Here, this is mine. And you can see other networks that are available. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. That's because I'm very close to my neighbors. I'm in a high rise. So this is all my neighbors. But you'll notice they all have locks. They're all private. Unless I have a password, I'm not going to be able to use any of that, any of theirs. Make sure that your Wi-Fi is locked, because anyone who gets close proximity to where your router is will be able to log on to your Wi-Fi if it's not locked. So what you would do here is you would find out, let's just say you're at your friend's house and you say, you know, by the way, I'd like to log on to your Wi-Fi. What is your Wi-Fi name? And let's just say they say this, DIE, D0D, and then I would hit that and put in the password. Now, I won't do that because if I do it, I'll lose the connection I have to my Wi-Fi and I'll lose you guys. So I don't want to do that. But that's how you would get in. And this is how you would find the Wi-Fi. You would have to have the proper name and you would have to have the password. Now, there are some that are open, like you'll see here. Here's Cox Wi-Fi. Now, I happen to have Cox service here, so I have Cox Wi-Fi that I can use. It is not password protected. I'm sure you've gone to places, you know, maybe you've gone into a store and you've seen, a sign that says Wi-Fi available. If you can get in without a password, it is not password protected. It is not secure. So if you ever use public Wi-Fi that does not require a password, do not use it to look at your bank accounts or to check your email or any of that. If you're in a store, just go to the store's website. That's all I would do on a Wi-Fi that's not secured. I would wait. Banking, etc., I would do when I was on a secured Wi-Fi connection. I rarely use Cox Wi-Fi, very rarely. Most places have secured, locked Wi-Fi. All right, so that's how you would go ahead and you would connect to somebody else's Wi-Fi and how you would identify them. Don't forget that if anybody has any questions, you'll need to unmute yourself. I believe everybody is muted. So certainly feel free to ask any questions. All right, the next item here is Bluetooth, which I think you're probably familiar with. Bluetooth allows you to connect an exterior device to your phone. For example, you might be playing music and you have an exterior speaker, and you can connect that speaker to your phone, and the music you have on the phone will play on the speaker. Anybody here who has a fitness watch, I don't mean necessarily an Apple Watch, but a fitness like a Fitbit, those connect to your phone via Bluetooth, so that you can, your app, the app that you're using will automatically get updated as you do your exercising and monitors your heart rate and etc. This is a really nice feature. I mean, when you have Bluetooth on, some of you may have cars, vehicles that have Bluetooth capability, and you can have your music from your phone play on the speakers in the car. Your telephone will be answered. You can do it hands-on, hands-off telephone. So that's what Bluetooth is all about. If for any reason you do not want to use it, you do not want to use Bluetooth, you would go in and you would shut it off. So you'll see here, for example, my Fitbit is connected. I'm not close enough to my car for the car to be connected. And then here's an external speaker that a friend of mine has, and we'll listen to music from my phone and onto that speaker. And then there are other things. People have all kinds of devices connected to their phones, whether they're medical equipment, for example. So it's a great feature. You're going to use it, and depending on your plan, you may run out of data. The idea is to be on Wi-Fi as much as possible, to not run the data when you don't really need to. And as long as you're on Wi-Fi, you can download music, videos, whatever, and it's not using up data. A lot of plans now have unlimited data. You see that on TV all the time, but they could be more expensive than you want to pay. So if you have a plan that has limited data, try to stay on Wi-Fi as much as possible. Again, Wi-Fi, using Wi-Fi, you will be able to use your phone, etc., download, go on the internet, play games, whatever you want to do, and not use cellular data. Now, here, data options, roaming. Remember that when you're outside of your network, if you're making phone calls or you're trying to get onto a website, you're going to be using roaming. And that's going to start, it could possibly be very expensive. In addition, it is very expensive if you happen to be traveling outside of the country. So if you're traveling outside of the country and you want to control how much your bill is going to be when you get back, you want to make sure your roaming is off. So here I have cellular data, I have it on, which means that when I'm not on Wi-Fi, I do want cellular data to be used. I don't use my phone that much when I'm not in Wi-Fi, so this doesn't concern me that much. If you use your phone a lot and you are not connected to Wi-Fi, let's say, for example, you're in your car a lot, you don't have Wi-Fi in your vehicle, you're going to be using data if you're using your phone. So just keep that in mind. If you have unlimited data plan, then I guess it doesn't really matter. But if you have a limited data plan, keep that in mind. I do want to talk a little bit about hotspot. That's here. Now, some of you may not have this feature on your phone. A personal hotspot is a feature of your carrier, of your phone plan. You may have a plan that allows you a personal hotspot, or you may not, in which case you won't see this available to you. My plan does afford me to have a cellular hotspot, and what that means is I can share my phone and create a Wi-Fi connection for others to be able to use. Now, if somebody is using my Wi-Fi that really is cellular, it's cellular information. So if they're using it, they're using my data. So be careful when you share your or create a Wi-Fi connection to be shared with other people. If you need it for just a short period of time, that's fine. But if you're in a place, let's say you're in an airport and you're sitting in the waiting area and you've got a long layover and you're sharing your Wi-Fi with a couple of people, this could be hours. You could be sitting there for hours. You know, just keep in mind, it's okay to do that as long as you're aware of it, but it is using your data. So this is what happens. You would create a hotspot. First thing it's going to be is allow others to join, and I have it on. And this is the Wi-Fi password. What'll happen is with this on, people in close proximity to me will see Phyllis's iPhone listed in the Wi-Fi connections that are available. Remember that list, when we hit Wi-Fi and I had a list of all the Wi-Fi networks that are available, when I have this on, when somebody else gets on and puts on that list or brings up the list, they're going to see me on it. They're going to see Phyllis's iPhone. They're going to click and join, and this is the password I'll have to give them in order for them to get on. I'll tell you what a hotspot is not. A hotspot will not create a Wi-Fi network for you where there is none. So let's say, for example, you're traveling and you're in a deserted area, there's no Wi-Fi, you are not going to be able to create a Wi-Fi connection or a Wi-Fi network just because you have a hotspot. It is not meant to create it where it isn't. It's meant for you to be able to create a Wi-Fi network for other people. So this could be kind of a nice feature. I mean, I've had it used for me. I happen to be in a location in a store, and I was there with a friend. We were going to be there for a while, and I wanted to check something on the internet, and she created a hotspot for me so that I could get a Wi-Fi connection. So sometimes it's valuable, but I wanted to make sure that you knew what the difference, what it is and what it isn't. because I did, when I was traveling once, there was a gentleman who was looking for a restaurant, and he said, could you give me the directions? I'll just go on my hotspot and go onto the internet. And I'm like, no, that's not what it's for. You have no Wi-Fi. You're going to have to use cellular if you want to find out where this restaurant is. So just keep that in mind. Okay. We're going to get off now on settings. We've covered a few of the basics. I encourage all of you to go through and just take a look at some of these. For example, here you have where you can set your ringtones. Here is where you can set, if you're something like me and you're trying to get some work done and your phone is ding, 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 you get distracted, this is a nice feature to kind of shut off notifications and the dinging for a period of time to allow you to concentrate. Here's general, we talked about that. We were on here. Wallpaper, that's to be able to change the look of your phone. This is wallpaper, what you see here under all the icons. That's what that is. We talked about security, and there's a lot of things here. Here, as you scroll down, I have all my apps. The last section is all the apps. Each of these apps has features that you can turn on and turn off. All of these you can customize. So when you have nothing else to do, you can go through them. Or maybe you want to look at, one or two, play around with them. And if you like them, great. And if you don't like them, you can always change it back. None of this is permanent. So if you try something, for example, you try a ringtone, you say, oh, this is awful. I hate that ringtone. You just go back and you change it to something else. It's not a big deal. Okay, the next thing I wanted to cover, because a lot of people now are asking, what is this? What is Apple Pay? Now, I'm sure that most of you now are going into venues, stores, mostly venues now. They're not taking cash anymore. Or you might go into a little coffee shop. They're not taking cash. So you have to have either a credit card, or they'll tell you that they take Apple Pay. And what Apple Pay is not a credit card. It's you put in a credit card into this app, and then you use your phone to scan the credit card. So I'll show you. Let's go into that particular app. Now, if you don't, this is a standard app. I did not download this special. This is a standard Apple app. You might have it in a folder. So if you can't find it on your phone, it might be in a folder somewhere. So you might want to scroll through, but usually it is alone, standalone, and it's usually on the first page. Okay, so here is Apple. And this is the wallet. Now, I want to show you this. This is an Apple credit card. And you can just go through and you can ignore that if you don't want one. Fine. So here is, I'll just show you, here's account. This is an Apple account that you can load. So this is for Apple products. You can load money onto this and you can use this. And it says here, I don't know if you can see, this is in gray. It says pay with your iPhone in the Apple Store, shop online, or buy apps, subscriptions, or other services. This doesn't mean, you don't go to the grocery store and use this card, but for anything related to Apple, you can use this. It's an Apple card and you can add money to it. So it's not like a credit card, it's like a debit card. Here, This is something a little bit different. This is set up Apple Cash. Now, you may have heard where people are using what they're called cash apps. You can send and receive money sent to you via an app. Probably the most used is either Zelle, Z-E-L-L-E, which you might have seen your bank, your personal bank might use that. The other one is Venmo, V-E-N like Nancy, M like Michael, O, Venmo. Venmo is part of PayPal, and they're called cash apps. People use them all the time. I use it whenever I want to send family members money, or somebody wants to send me money. I transfer money between my bank and my Venmo account. And this way I can send, I use somebody who takes me to the airport. I don't pay them cash. I just send them the money by Venmo. So that's what this is. This is Apple's version of a cash, of a cash app. So you can use this. I know some of you might be a little skittish about using cash apps and sending money through the internet. Yeah, I wouldn't send money to a stranger, but certainly if you wanted to send money, you know, a birthday gift to a niece or nephew, or grandchild, or a child, then you can send it on the Cash App. And I bet you they would appreciate it, because this way they don't have to go to the bank and cash a check. You don't have to mail a check, etc. Now, this is a credit card that I have put in. This is my credit card. This has nothing to do with Apple. And when I go to the store, then I can just scan the card. But they have to accept Apple Pay. To use the card, that's what's called Apple Pay. So if you have a card on your phone, and let's say you go to the store and you don't have your wallet with you, or you don't have the credit card you want to use, but it's on your phone, you say to them, do you use Apple Pay? And you've seen them. They're little white machines on the counter. They have the Wi-Fi sign on them. And you've seen them too at gas pumps, etc. And so that's how you would use it. Not everybody can use this. Now, this is another thing. You have, if your phone is locked, you have the protection that no one is going to be able to use this card. If your phone's not locked, you are going to be subjected to some of these things, like people looking at them, etc. When I use this card, I have to use facial recognition. It asks me to have the Face ID. One of the other things I wanted to show you is that you can also, on Wallet, you can also store your courtesy cards. As you can see, I have 2 courtesy cards here. One of the reasons I like to put the cards on the Wallet is because if I'm in CVS and I want to go on their app, which that my card is on the app, I hope that there's Wi-Fi, or I hope I can get a connection. Here, it's right here at all times. I don't need Wi-Fi, I don't need cellular. All I'd have to do is hit it and it shows up. There it is. There's the code. Okay, I don't need any connection. The same with the Stop and Shop. The other nice thing is that if you purchase tickets to go somewhere, you might see that you could put your tickets into the wallet. And for the same reason, if you have your tickets on your email, or you have them in an app, Ticketmaster, and you go in, you're going to hope you have Wi-Fi so that you can bring the ticket up. Here in Wallet, all I have to do is hit it and they can scan it. And here I also have my insurance ID card. If I ever get pulled over, I can just pull this up and show the officer, yes, I have insurance. Okay, so that's what Wallet is all about. So this is a nice feature. Do not be afraid to put credit card information or a credit card into your phone, because your phone is locked and it is secure. And it is going to ask you for some kind of ID before you use it. So this is really a very nice feature. And this, using it, the other thing you can put on this is, for example, if you're traveling, you put in your boarding passes. I'm sure that you're going to be seeing more and more of the option of being able to put your tickets, whatever, into Apple Pay and into the wallet. And you get a little icon at the bottom when you buy a ticket, and it says add to wallet. It's a little icon. I think it's black, rectangular, and it says that on it. Okay, so that's using wallet. I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about some of the other standard apps that are available. I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure most of you have used weather. And here you can see I'm not in Connecticut, so it's a little warm here. But I wanted to show you, I'm sure many of you have seen this, but I wanted to show you where you can go ahead and add, if you wanted to add, for example, when I travel, sometimes I'll just put in the places where I'm going to be, and so I can get an idea of what their weather is and what I have to pack. Down at the bottom, you'll see that there is 3 lines. So there are 3 lines. So I'm just going to hit it, and here it is. These are what I have listed. So let's just go back for a second. And over here where it says search, I'll just put in, there it is, comes up. See, it came up. So New York, New York. I'm just going to hit it, and there it is. And then up here, in order for it to be available to me at all times, you see up here, it says add. So I'm going to add. If I want to delete it, once my travel days are over, I go back, hit the 3 lines, and then I come over here to New York, and I just swipe to the left, and you see this? The garbage can. I just hit it, and it's gone. One of the really nice features, this app used to end at about here. Then they added all these other features that you can go in. Here is air quality, but here's precipitation. Can you see that? Let me show you what I did. See? You'll see this line of rain. This is my particular area. So I don't have, this is where I am right here, where the 75 is, but you could see there's very bad weather. And I think that most of you have probably seen in the news where there've been a lot of tornadoes, etc. So you can see that line of pretty bad weather. And it will move. All I did was hit it, and it moves. And you can see down at the bottom, it says the 12-hour forecast. So if, for example, you want to see if you should travel, you can get a sense for where this bad weather is headed. And it's pretty bad up there. So it just does a 12-hour loop. This is really a nice feature. Now you have all this information available to you. You have UV, you have sunset. For us will occur here at 7:10. This is nice because if I hit it, I get more information. You know, so each of these boxes has more information available. So here are the winds, precipitation, feels like, humidity. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Visibility and pressure, barometric pressure. So this has a lot of really valuable information. It really is neat, in addition to the 10-day. I mean, that, that's kind of neat. This is kind of new too, this meter that it has here as far as, for example, tomorrow will be between 68 and 79. So it's a little yellow here. It goes down a little bit. Now we get a little bit more comfortable, 58 to 66. So that's kind of neat too. Okay, the next one I want to cover is the clock. So just a couple of features about that. You have the ability to put in the world clock. So you'll see I have Central and Eastern time listed. You can add additional places by just coming up over here to the plus sign. Or if you want to edit, you can do that. If I want to delete it, I just swipe to the left to delete it. The next one is the alarm. This is where you would set up a schedule. So if you have to be up every day at 7 a.m., you can set up a schedule. If you want to set up a schedule for when to go to bed. So if you want to be in bed by 10 o'clock, you'll get an alert that says time you're ready to go to bed. And then the alarm will be set for 7 a.m. The next thing is, this is now a stopwatch, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, the ability to set it and do a function. So you could have start, and there it goes. And then you would just hit stop whenever you want it. So it's the very traditional stopwatch. The next thing is the timer. This is a nice feature if, for example, you need to do something in 30 minutes. You could set an alarm. Sure, you can do that, but I like to set the timer. And it's neat because I usually tell Siri to set it for me. So I just say, set timer for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 42 minutes, whatever. So this is really a kind of neat feature here to use and to kind of stay on track. Okay, I wanted to show you notes. Now this is an app that you may have in a folder somewhere, but it looks like this right here. This is something that you can create, for example, if you wanted to create a shopping list, or somebody tells you something about a great book, you can go ahead and put it in notes for future reference. But I want to show you what you can do with it. Down here at the bottom corner, I'm just going to hit it to create a new note. But I want to show you that you also have the ability to do some scanning here. So in order to, here's the camera. Now this is just to create tables. This is your font, uppercase, lowercase, the kind of font that you want to use. Here's a checklist. I'm really big in having bullets, checklist. Here you can write. This is a pen, but I want to show you this one here is the camera. You see this? You see what came up? I can choose a photo that I already have, but I can also scan documents. And I can scan them and then I can send them to a place. And I'll show you how to do that. Right now I have the outline that Amanda sent to everybody that I prepared. So I'm just going to do that and show you how that's done. Oops. I'm going to go to the camera and I'm going to scan. There, it's automatically done. Okay, and then down here in the corner, I'd hit save, and there it is. And now I can go ahead and I can put it, save it in notes. And then when I wanted to use it for, to send it, I can do that. But now watch, look at this up here. This is the universal sign for uploading something, sending it to somebody. So I'm just going to hit that, messages or email, and watch. I'm just going to click on mail and look at that. It input the headline, the first line of the document. Here it is, an email, and all I have to do is put in a name. That's it. And I scan this document and I can now send it out. So that's a really nice feature of notes. So you don't need to have a scanner or anything. You can also here scan text. So let me show you that. And let's say, for example, this is a good example of that. Let's say you have seen a recipe and you want to get all the ingredients, but you don't want to take a lot of time to write it. You can scan it, the text, it'll show up here in a note, and you can save it on your phone. So I'll show you. Here I'm going to do the camera again. You see on the bottom here, it says scan text. So here it is. There. Okay. This I took from the outline of the class. So you see, it's all there right now on the phone. I didn't have to type it in. It's just automatically scanning text. Okay. All right. We're running a little late here, but I just wanted to go back. I did cover this, but I did want to just go back to it for a minute. And I'm going to go back over here to settings. And I do want to talk to you about letting the apps get your information. I have now right here. Let's go back for a second. I don't want you I don't want to lose you. Here we are in settings again. Okay, settings. And we're going back now, keep scrolling to privacy and security right here. Here I have location services are on. When location services are on, the app can track where you are. This is important in the event, let's say you have a navigation app on your phone, that app that's going to want to know where you are. I mean, that's a given. So I have location services on, and these apps can track me. I may give permission to somebody to track me where I am. For example, if I'm using Google Maps or Apple Maps, and I want somebody to know what my location is, I have the ability to do that because right now it says location services are on. But you will notice here that every app asks for that information. So here are contacts. Okay, what this is saying is, do I give these apps permission to have access to my contacts? And I have said yes to 3, but I have said no to the others. Now I've been very selective about this. For example, if I want to send money from Capital One, it's easier for me to allow Capital One to have access to my contacts. So these are really, you really have to think these through. You might want to go and say no to all of them. And then when a situation comes up that you said, oh, you know, I really do need for them to access my contacts, then you can go back and change it, whatever works for you. Same with the calendar. Do I want these apps to have access to my calendar? And I have made the decision that only 2 out of the 5, yes. So you can just go on. Photos. These are things that apps that I have request access to my photos. And here, for example, I have selected photos only. Here I have none. So I've gone through and I've made a conscious decision about all of these. So this is what you really have to think about, because it's true. The phone, the internet, everybody has access to your information and has access to you and what you're doing and where you're going. So you want to be able to minimize that. And truthfully, if you don't care, then that's okay too. Because nowadays people say, hey, listen, you know, there's no point, it's no big secret. So I'm going to go ahead and let them have access. That's the way of the world right now. But that's your decision. And I just want to make sure that you know how to go ahead and make those decisions on who's tracking you and who's not. Okay, that is everything that we were going to cover today. Okay, that's good question, Connie. The issue is that if they don't give you the option, it's because they don't have it available.
Okay.
My bank, I got a message. I get a message every time I log in on the app. I get a message that says, sorry, but Face ID is not available yet. But when you have that option and you want to use it, click on it. Now, don't forget that Face ID that they ask you for is the same Face ID to open your phone. You don't have to do another face scanning. Still in attendance, I strongly recommend. This was a great discussion, Connie. It wasn't quite what we were going to talk about, but it's great to talk about what this phone can do to make your life so much easier. And don't be fearful. Be cautious.
Right.
Just be careful, but don't be fearful. They're a great tool. The iPhone is very easy to use. I know a lot of people have Android phones and they love them, but it's very easy to use, and Apple is always looking at adding features. You're very welcome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Amanda. We'll talk to you next week.